Blessed day to all. This is Mr. Criminology and welcome to our course, Introduction to Criminology. This is the foundational course in the entire program of Bachelor of Science in Criminology. Hope you can learn something. First, our course title is Introduction to Criminology, and our first topic for today is entitled Crime, which is the definition of it. We will look into the elements of crime, and also we will be looking to the concepts of crime. Let's begin. Of course, I want to share to you the objectives of this course. The learning objectives are as follows. Number one, to define crimes and its elements. So at the end of this lesson, you're expected to define what is crime and what are its elements. And we can compare different concepts of crime. And lastly, to relate crime, its elements and concepts to everyday life, especially to the news that we read, watch, and hear. Of course, let's define first what is crime. Crime is defined as the act committed or omitted in violation of public law, forbidding or commanding it. So there will only be crime if there will be an act or omission. Act means you did something that can affect to the outside world. It is a bodily movement. And omission, you have the obligation to do but you fail to do. This is inaction. Hindi mo ginawa yung dapat mong gawin. And that kind of action or inaction is a violation of public law, which it commands or it forbids. If the law commands and you fail to do, there is a crime. And if the law forbids and you did what is forbidden, you violate that forbidden rule or law, you also committed a crime. So there are two ways of committing a crime. It is by commission and by omission. Omission, you did not do what you ought to do, and commission, you did what you ought not to do. And that is crime in general. We have this legal maxim, don't forget this. Nullum crimen, nulla pena sine lege. It means there is no crime when there is no law punishing it. So a crime is a product of law. If there is no law, there is no crime. We only have crime because we have a law. Next, refers to an act committed or omitted in violation of public law. So as what I discussed a while back. It also refers to an act committed or omitted in violation of public law, forbidding or commanding it, according to Reyes 2006. So that is the crime in general. Crime can be committed through. Number one, it can be called felony. Felony, those in violation of the revised penal code. The revised penal code is our criminal law. We have book 1 and book 2. And it is called offenses if your action or omission is in violation of statutes like the special laws, the Republic Acts, presidential decrees. We have those kinds of law. And misdemeanor if those violations of ordinances such as what the city are enforcing. Let's have the classes of crime. We have the word mala inse. Don't forget this. An act are outlawed because they violated basic moral values such as rape, murder, assault, and robbery. A, international felony, and B, intentional felony, and B is non-intentional felony. So it is mala inse if your act is naturally evil. So even if there is no law, that kind of act is wrong. That is evil. That is a crime. Such as even if there is no law against rape, if you rape somebody, that is a crime. That is because it is a naturally evil. We also have like robbery, assault, murder. It is never right to kill and to rob somebody's property. So naturally evil, that is called mala inse. And we also have mala prohibita. Acts that are outlawed because they clash with current norms and public opinions such as tax, traffic, and drug laws. So it is also mala prohibita. From the word prohibita, it is prohibited. It is your action or omission will only be crime because there is a law that says that it is wrong. There is a provision to prohibit that kind of action or omission. So mala inse and mala prohibita are the two classes of crimes. We also have the elements of felony. A is intentional felony, committed by dolo or deceit. So, it is a felony, it is called intentional if there is a deceit. It is through your dolo. These are the following. The acts or omission is performed with deliberate intent or malice. So, pinag-isipan, you thought about it, you deliberate it, you are aware of it. You have freedom, it is with freedom and voluntariness. So nobody forces you, nobody induces you, nobody blackmailed you. So you have the freedom and you voluntarily did that action or crime. Number two, intelligence. So you thought about it, you planned about it, you are aware of the action and the possible outcome of that action. And number three, there is an intent. It is intentional. So those are the elements of intentional felonies. And let's proceed to the next. It is a culpable felonies acts by means of culpa or fault. The act or omission of the offender is not malicious and the injury caused by the offender is unintentional. It being simply the incident of another act performed without malice. So it is a culpable felony if you did some kind of acts or omission that you don't have any plan to do it, you don't have intent to harm or to injure. It is you have committed or omitted it by means of fault. Number one, of course, the freedom and voluntariness. Without the following, there is no intelligence to do it. It is through neglect or imprudence or lack of foresight of lack or skill. So you just neglected through negligence, imprudence. So the key word there is you don't have the intent, you don't have the voluntariness to do it, and that is just for the lack of foresight, lack of skill. Classification of crimes. Let's see the legal classification of crimes. Number one, according to law violated. So, as what I've said a while back, a felony are an act or omission punishable by law, which is committed by means of dolo or deceit or culpa or fault and punishable under the revised penal code. Number two, offense. We call it offense if it is a violation of special laws. And letter C, infraction, act or omission in violation of a city or municipal ordinances, like I mentioned a while back. Number two, according to the manner of committing crime. A, by means of dolo or deceit. Yan. At there is freedom, voluntariness, intelligence, and intent. Number two, by means of culpa or fault. Felony committed by means of culpa and fault, an act or omission of offense is not malicious, and the injury caused by the offender is unintentional. There is a lack of foresight, lack of skill, there is a negligence, or there is a imprudence. Those are just our recap in our lesson. Now, letter number three, according to the manner of committing the crime. Let's see the following. There are stages in the commission of crime. Number letter A, let's see the word attempted. Attempted, the crime is attempted when the offender commences the commission of a felony directly or overacts and does not perform all the acts of execution which should produce the felony by reason of some cause or incidents other than this own spontaneous desistance. So there is an attempted in the stage of crime if the person is directly or overacts. He does committed the crime, but he did not commence all. He failed to execute all the actions that will produce. So, meron siyang ginawang krimen, pero hindi niya nagawa lahat ng necessary, ng lahat ng dapat niyang aksyon na gawin para makumpleto yung paggawa ng krimen. Merong mga incidents, merong mga reasons bakit hindi niya nagawa. such as pwedeng napigilan, pwedeng siya ay nahuli, pwedeng siya ay nag-failed, hindi niya na-perform lahat. He attempted. We have letter B, frustrated. When the offender performs all acts of execution which would produce the felony as a consequence, but which nevertheless do not produce it by reason or cause independent of the will of perpetrator. There is a frustrated naman na gawa niya lahat ng dapat niyang gawin, all the actions or omissions necessary to produce the act, but did not produce yung gusto niyang mangyari. Merong mga circumstances, merong mga dahilan na bakit hindi niya natapos ang kanyang krimen. Halimbawa, sinaksak niya pero nakailag. Yan. O binaril niya pero hindi niya napatay. Nakapasok siya pero hindi niya lahat nakuha. So, ginawa niya, nakumpleto niya yung actions niya pero hindi niya na-produce yung desired niyang dapat gawin. At yun ay frustrated. And we have letter C, consummated. When all the elements necessary for its accomplishment and execution are present. Ito naman, consummated. Nagawa niya lahat ng dapat niyang gawin, pinlano niyang gawin, at na-produce niya yung gusto niyang o desired niyang outcome ng kanyang action. Binaril niya, napatay niya. So, that is consummated. So, number 4, we have the according to plurality. We have letter crime is a single act constituting only one offense. So, it is called single act kapag simple crime, there is a single act at napaproduce ka ng isang offense lang. Letter B, we have the complex crime. Single act constituting 2 or more grave felonies or an is a necessary means for committing the other. So 2 kinds of complex crime. We have compound crime, delito compuesto, and complex crime proper, delito complejo. Yan ang dalawang classification ng complex crime. So may single act ka, pero na-produce ka ng 2 o higit pa ng mga grave felony. Kaya complex ang tawag sa kanya. Next, according to the nature of the acts, there is a mala in se, as I said kanina, inherently evil, naturally evil. Kahit walang law, masama ginawa mo, like pagpatay, pagnanakaw, etc. And letter B, we have mala prohibita, acts that are prohibited only because there are laws forbidding such act. Example, illegal possession of firearm, traffic violation, and etc. Okay? And we have the next. Let's see some more if we have still things to discuss. Okay. I believe that's all for our part 1 and hope you've learned something today about the foundational concepts and definitions of crime, and hope you learned something and in your journey in the field of criminology. If you are still a student, hope it helped you for your research. If you are already reviewing for your board examination, hope it helped you to your review in the upcoming board examination. If you are a registered criminologist, hope it serves as direct pressure for your chosen profession. Thank you very much. God bless you.